Good morning. You're watching Off the Press on Plus TV Africa today, the 1st of March 2019. Happy New Month to you and welcome to the program. I am Ify Aronu. And on Off the Press today, we'll be looking at the headlines on national dailies for today, the topical stories that you cannot miss. And I have with me in the studio Daniel Odupe. He is a legal practitioner. Thank you so much, Daniel, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so how was the road this morning?
This is
the
Lagos.
drive to this place.
The traffic was, as usual,
And it's a rainy morning.
Exactly.
But I think it's the best way actually to usher in the new month, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so let's jump into it straight up. I have the Punch newspaper up first this morning, and the Punch is leading with this headline: Abdulsalami Kuka meet Atiku Obi as Oshomole attacks ex-VP. And that story is on pages 2 and 10 with the rider, "You aren't destined to rule, will meet in court," APC chair tells Atiku. And above that, we have presidential poll results. That's what the headline, the story is about. You can look up that story and get more details. I think that's the biggest story for this morning. And just close to the masthead on the right, we see senatorial seats. APC wins Jonathan's district. 64 others. Now, that's a sweeping one on page 15. Find out more. Governorship polls, PDP cautions against militarization of South. And that story is on page 9. Above the masthead, we have domestic flight operations rise by 23% on page 25. Police tear gas anti-Tinubu protesters in Lagos, page 5 still. Many callers complained about hoodlums at polling units. Election monitor, that's who that statement is credited to. Find out more on that on page 43, trailing the election. And we also have Falana sues Bajabiamila for unpaid 20 million naira professional fee when big men fight. That's on page 7. And to the bottom of the front page of the Punch this morning, "Be humble in victory. Presidency tells APC members," is on page 23. "Fuel spillage from vandalized NNPC pipeline causes panic in Lagos again." Pages 4 and 5. And on Doe, 15 persons die of Lassa fever, 102 infected in 2 months, is on page 10. And this picture story is very important. You see that picture there with the caption, "Crowd at Adeyemi Bero Auditorium allows Sir Ikeja during All Progressives Congress distribution of free rice to the people in Lagos on Thursday." We see, well, I think this man is really powerful. He's trying to pull it back, and the ladies are struggling with him. So, Daniel, which would you like to react to?
First off, that's a story about the police tear gassing anti-Tinubu protesters. I find that really unfortunate.
Did you ever see the possibility of anti-Tinubu protesters ever happening in Lagos?
Oh, no. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's been on for a while.
Okay.
I am a Lagosian, I mean, it's just unfortunate. If you go back to Kwara State with the fact that Senator Bukola Saraki did not get the ticket was not able to, get back into the Senate, So I think, the people of Lagos are trying to take a cue from that, okay, it has been done in Kwara State. I think it's been, the hashtag is Otoge movement, trying to say, enough of godfatherism, enough of being in power for so long. People argue and say with Lagos State that Tinubu, that he has not really been guilty of impoverishing the people of Lagos. But I beg to differ. In my opinion, I think Lagos is not living up to its potentials. Really, we can do way better than we are doing. And this is democracy. I find it really appalling. I think it's unacceptable that the police. I mean, this is a constitutional right.
Would tear gas
yes, this is a constitutional right.
protesters.
People have right to come together to, it's a peaceful assembly. Earlier this morning, I even heard that they were not exactly on the streets. They actually hired, an event center, and they were there, and they're trying to, make a point and all of that. I think it's unfortunate. It just goes to show that, when you're in the corridor of power, you have all the instrumentality of, of state, and you can do.
And one of the cardinals of democracy is the freedom of speech, which should be upheld. We're moving on now to the Nation newspaper for this morning, the 1st of March 2019, leading with the cover story, "Oshomole to Atiku will meet you in court." Find that story inside on page 8. And it has the rider, APC chair can't tell Nigerians who is electable, says PDP. Now that's the big story. Find that on The Nation. And just below the masthead, we have the story, APC shows its strength with 65 elected senators. Above the masthead, 21 feared killed, scores injured in Zamfara attack is on page 43. We also have federal government AGF, we've not removed Onogan, page 7. Definitely you comment on this. And then we also have on page 11, manufacturing generates 864 billion naira. Ex-NAF chief gets 21 years for fraud, still on the fight against corruption. And Lagos police, no tribe under threat. That's on page 4. Fans seek extension of Mikel stays on page 47. Definitely we'll talk about that on the sports segment. And still on The Nation, Atiku's agents plan Lagos takeover with the rider recruit Abakoba Odumakin CSOs. There's a legion of SANs with Atiku. It stands. That's what we hear. So, Daniel, take it away.
Interestingly, those people mentioned Odumakin, they were, Agbakoba, they were, reputed to be the leaders of this anti-Tinubu movement in Lagos. And I think basically what PDP and Atiku is trying to do is to say, look, let's have a departure from the norm. Let's, for the past, since the return of democracy in 1999, it's been Tinubu and Tinubu's dynasty. And so let's see if there's going to be a change. So, well, let's see how far they're able to do that. But I think what should be paramount is the interest of Lagosians. They've not done badly. Okay, so APC and from AC and the rest, they've not really done badly, but they can do a lot better. So they need to be challenged. I think that's what we're going to find out in this election. And I hope that the will of the majority of Nigerians, of Lagosians, come to fruition. I think that would
okay, and what about the story on federal government speaking through the AGF, saying that they've not removed CJN, suspended CJN on Nogan, even when we know that he has been referred to severally as former CJN.
I think it's just simple English. I mean, it's just
semantics.
Yeah, exactly. A matter of rhetoric. We've not removed him. We only suspended him. Everybody know where they're going. What they're trying to do. Right now he's not acting. So if you say you suspend somebody, how long? I mean. It was clear from the onset that his suspension, will be determined by, the verdict of the CCT, of the Court of Culture Tribunal. How long? We know how, trials goes in Nigeria. It can go on for years, months and years. So, this technically speaking, he's been removed. I'm not sure what they're trying to, what they're up to by saying that we didn't remove him. It's just a matter of semantics, if you ask me. Okay.
Interestingly, the Nation newspaper also has on his cover page the shape of the next Senate. It's a tabulation of the spread among the 6 geopolitical zones and the parties that won. So you might also want to see that on the front cover. This is still off the press. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Glad to have you back and off the press on Plus TV Africa this beautiful morning. I still have with me Daniel Odupe, a legal practitioner, and we're joined at this time by Best Man Abumere. He is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're moving on now to Vanguard newspaper for today. And Vanguard is leading with the same trending story. Polls result, we are ready to meet Atiku in court, Oshomole, where the rider says Atiku not destined to be president will no longer take Oshomole serious, and that's credited to the PDP. Don't provoke polls losers, and that's attributed to SGF boss Mustafa. And then we have a picture story, All Progressives Congress National Publicity Secretary Lanre Isonilu, National Chairman Adams Oshomole during the party's press briefing in reaction to PDP rejection of the just concluded presidential election. All the stories on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. Above the masthead, how APC liberated Kwara from Saraki's dynasty, and that's according to Lai Mohammed. Find that on page 42. We also have Okota crisis, suspected thugs to face trial, and that's attributed to the Commissioner of Police, with the rider Sonwolu MC Oluomo assure Igbo of safety in Lagos is on page 8 and 44. And we of course have Buhari may dissolve cabinet before May 2019, and that statement is attributed to the presidency on page 8. Best man, please, which would you react to?
Well, first and foremost, I think the statement of Oshomole is most uncalled for. You see, in a tense situation like we have in our country today, whoever is a victor in the election, irrespective of how it came and went, should be conciliatory in every statement he makes. He has been known to make very, very, very fatalistic statements that injures, the psyche and whatever of those who are at the other side of the political divide. Politics is not played like that. He's too tempestuous, and his kind of politics is too boisterous for, I'm sure, a lot of Nigerians, not me alone. So I don't think that, because yesterday I read that there was a peace committee meeting between the PDP representatives and the initiators of the
Peace Pact.
Exactly. And one would have thought that he would pay attention to that and know what will come from that meeting, whether they are asking the man to concede or so. Even if the man wants to go to court, of course, we are talking of politics of contest. And whoever loses and he thinks he has not lost, he has not lost fairly, has a right to go to court. The only thing we should not encourage is violence.
Absolutely. Now we're moving on to this day newspaper, leading with the cover story ahead of cabinet dissolution. Scramble for ministerial appointment begins with the rider choice of service chiefs not subject to federal character principle, and that's by presidency. We have a picture story which says the celebration continues with President Muhammadu Buhari and some top government officials in celebratory mood. We also have the story just below the cover story, economy tops people's expectations of Buhari's second term. And that's the reactions of Nigerians to President Buhari's return to the presidency. We also have Abdul Salami meet Oshibajo, Atiku, Obi, and that's on page 10. And above the masthead, we have Nigeria to attract $48 billion of $194 billion oil investment in Africa. I'll come to you now, Daniel.
Yes, I'd like to react to the main headline there ahead of the cabinet dissolution. I think it's long overdue. I'm just hoping that something really positive will come out of this. The right that the choice of service chief not being subject to federal character principle, says President. I'm just wondering what exactly they mean. Although that particular part of the Constitution is, it's chapter 2 of the Constitution, we say that it is not justiciable, meaning that you cannot sue the government, you cannot go to court to say we want to enforce the rights in chapter 2. However, they are supposed to be guiding principles, fundamental principles of states. I beg to differ, I think the reverse is even the case. I think the reverse is in fact the case, in the sense that, you might even say that, logically speaking, maybe ministerial appointment need not be subject to federal character because, all we're interested in is people who are capable, But for service chiefs in a state like Nigeria, where, there's so much sentiment, even at independence, it was so important that there was a committee on it, on minority rights and all of that. I think more than any other position in the land, the service chiefs, as long as they are qualified, I think they should reflect federal character, so that you can temper this issue of one ethnic group trying to attack the other.
I think Bestman would also like to lend his thoughts to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the idea of trying to nepotize the appointment of people in a particular segment of public establishment is not the best. We are in a society that is so pluralistic. We are in a society that is so diverse. And every section of this country have got its own fair share of brilliant people, whether in the military, whether in the civil service, just name it. So there is just no reason. And if he fails to listen to the hues and cries of Nigerians, I don't know, that may be his Achilles heels.
Okay, thank you so much, best man. We have to move on now because we're almost out of time. And we have the New Telegraph newspaper. I would like to physically raise this up so you would see what it looks like this morning. And the cover story reads, APC Atiku not destined to be Nigeria's president. That's still what's trending across national dailies today, with the riders PDP mocks Oshomole over defeat in Edo on page 2 and 5, and Abdulsalami Atiku Obi Saraki Kuka seconders meet. And we have the pictures, presidency, how the battle was won and lost in Northwest and Southwest on pages 11 and 12. And to the bottom of the page, presidential poll, Duke, Showore, Moralu, Duroteye, 67, others scored 869,758 votes. And the rider, how 37-year-old cleric, came third after APC, PDP is on page 48. And then above the masthead, we've ended Saraki political dynasty, and that's according to Oloriebe. Okay, now I would like to come to you, Daniel.
Basically, the one that talks about the precision poll, how the so-called third force, Duke, Shore, Mogalu, Jutoi, how
less than a million votes.
I think I just hope that they can take a cue from this. Running for the office of the president is not a sprint. It's not something you just less than a year to the election you say you want to contest. I think they need to take a key from this because they need to prepare adequately. The preparation starts now for the next election. Most of us think that the true change that we need in Nigeria will come from this thought force. So I just hope that they can put their hearts together, work together, and start working from now. Start building grassroots structures that will ensure that come 2023, we can have a thought force that can favorably challenge.
That's formidable enough.
Exactly, absolutely.
Okay, now before Bestman comes in, I'd like to spotlight this because it is equally important and is also on the cover page of a New Telegraph this morning. Lassa fever, 15 die, 105 cases recorded in Ondo, and that's credited to the Nigeria Medical Association. Bestman, please, which would you react to?
The issue of political dynasty and whatever it caused my attention. I think it is shallow-mindedness that will make people to be promoting that kind of sentiment. Politics is a contest either between two political parties or more. Though I am not in favor of what happened, that you have to register as many as 92 or how many political parties. Things doesn't work out that way. And not only that, Nigerians need to be sensitive to the fact and then pay attention to what happens elsewhere. You don't wake up from your bed and just say you want to become the president of a country like Nigeria. It's a very complex country, whether we like it or not. What they should have done, if they had wanted to dislodge the old brigade that have been lording it over us, would have been to come together, form a formidable political party, and somebody who is a little bit experienced and, of course, vast in the economic and political management, because we are talking of political economy now,
that was in the works. The coalition was in the works, but it never happened.
Yes, because of self-interest. People will always want to, but instead of consensus added them that should be built in order to arrive at where we are going, this one, I am the one that will take this, I am the one to take it. That is what happened. So the issue of Kwara, coming back to the issue of dynasty, is neither here nor there. They can be there today, and don't be surprised that in the next dispensation, if they are alive to witness it anyway, and I pray they do, they may find Saraki toppling them again.
Who knows? Now, we have to move on because we're actually almost out of time. We have the Daily Sun up next. And on Daily Sun this morning, we have the big story. INEC, we are ready for Guba State Assembly elections, and that's on page 12 and 42, pages 12 and 42, I beg your pardon. And we have the rider, don't threaten voters, presidency tells APC members. Now, that's the big story. And of course, close to the masthead, just on the right, we have PDP, APC throw punches over Atiku on pages 6 and 12. With the rider Abdusalami Peace Panel meets PDP presidential candidate Oshibajo Obi. Okay, now that's the big story there on your screen. And then to the bottom of the page, we see Buhari's aide speaks on new cabinet on page 3, says appointment of ministers, advisors won't take long as in 2015. We also have PDP alleges military occupation of South. We already saw that. And of course, we will implement 30,000 naira minimum wage, and that's credited to the SGF, says Atiku can go to court. I actually saw a statement. He said, we are not jittery. That's credited to SGF boss Mustafa. Now, which one would you like to react to, Daniel?
The main headline which talks about, INEC saying it's ready for the gubernatorial polls. I hope this is not just another, rhetorics. I hope they are truly ready. I mean, the loopholes are there. They are obvious to everyone. The challenges, one would have thought that with the statement of the president saying that, ballot box snatchers will pay with their lives, that, there will be no incident of that. But instead, that went, if you, especially in Lagos, the curious fact in Lagos, during the election, there's supposed to be a restriction of movement, but these guys were able to move to the areas where the ruling parties, might not get the upper hand, and then they were able to perpetrate all the things that they needed to perpetrate. I just hope that INEC, the security forces are all truly ready, and won't have.
Okay, best man, let me get your thoughts quickly as well as wrap up.
The occupation of the South is absolutely uncalled for. If the videos that have gone viral are anything to go by, what happened in Akwa Ibom and Rivers State is absolutely uncalled for.
Thank you so much, Best Man Abumera, Public Affairs Analyst, for joining me. Thank you as well. Daniel Odupe, legal practitioner. Gentlemen, have a great first day of March. It's a rainy day, but then it's a day to be the best and to go about your activities.
Thank you.
And, of course, emerge victorious. My name is Ify Aronu. Thank you so much for joining us on Off the Press this morning. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow. That's next week, actually, on Monday. Every weekday of the press comes your way. I am Ify Aronu. Have a blessed day.